Hi, it's Matt Craven here. Just wanted to give some tips on executive CV writing. Um, I've got a couple of CVs up on screen here, and I plan to just go through some of the key sections and just homing in on the anatomy of a good exec CV, but some of the key points that are going to help you to I guess, stand out from your peers when applying for executive roles. So the first section I want to cover off is the profile summary. Um, and this is really the first paragraph that positions you and tells a recruiter, headhunter, or prospective employer who you are and what you've got to offer. And I think most people are fairly au fait with having that initial paragraph on their CV. Um, but people tend to fill it with the wrong information. Quite often we see that section filled with um, behavioural traits such as being able to work in a team, or being dynamic, or being a self-starter, or a whole manner of sort of cliched personality traits, rather than really focusing on what you've got to offer a future employer. So, first thing you need to do is tell people what you are. In this case, and I've got a sort of mocked up version of my CV. I'm not looking for a job, by the way, but I refer to myself here as a commercial director. What a lot of people are tempted to do is to give some kind of very woolly or fuzzy or ambiguous description of themselves here. But what you've got to do is try and align that with the job title. So I said I'm a commercial director. That next sentence is what I would refer to as a value proposition statement. So I'm talking about what I'm good at, if you like. And I could have chosen other things there. I mean, I was delivering a webinar last night where I talked about my bag, if you want to put it that way. My value proposition is developing a commercial strategy and operational capability to transform or build businesses with a definite kind of angle towards building new businesses, building new revenue streams, generating revenue for products and services that perhaps never existed previously. So I'm quite clear that that's my value proposition, and you'll have yours. So it's the value proposition sounds a bit fancy, doesn't it? But it's really just simply the value that you're proposing to offer a future employer. And then once you've done that, home in on key strengths. We typically would suggest having 4. These are written in a features and benefits style. So where it says key strengths include, there are 4 skills, or whatever you want to call them, or strengths. And we talk about the skill that the person has, and then the benefit is the benefit that relates to that skill. So what's the benefit to your future employer of you having that skill? And if you read through those, you'll see how they follow a features and benefits style. I got another example here. So this person's a finance director, talked about their value proposition, which is creating robust financial management and financial governance capability for rapidly growing PE-funded organisations to protect cash flow and profit. You could argue that to protect cash flow and profit is the benefit. So even in that value proposition statement, we've kind of done it in a features and benefits style. And then all the other key strengths that we've listed follow that same features and benefits style. So that's how I would suggest putting together that initial paragraph. The next bit I want to talk about is the key skills section. This helps headhunters to match you to a job description, but in the modern day recruitment world, organisations are relying more heavily on automation and systems, and we've got these things called applicant tracking systems in play. Now, you could argue that they're not quite as prevalent at the executive end of the market, but I can tell you they are very commonly used. And if your CV doesn't get past the ATS, and I can tell you that at least 70% of CVs don't, they are rejected at source, then a human's never going to read it. So there's some tactics to use to make your CV keyword rich that's going to help you appeal to both the recruitment software, the applicant tracking systems, and a human. So the key skills section is where you can put plenty of keywords that are appearing on the job description that you know they're looking for, that will help to optimize and match your CV to the job description. And that's a moving feast. That should change for every application you make. And I've done the same on this one. And then the next point is really around achievements. And there's a couple of sections that are really important to that. Usually when we review CVs for people, my first question is, well, how can I tell that you're good at your job? And usually there's a bit of a pause, a bit of a silence, and then after a few seconds, well, you can't really, can you? That's the whole purpose of a CV. It's not to tell people where you've worked, although of course that is part of it, but primarily it's to explain why you are not just a suitable, but a stellar candidate for that particular role. You know, and the only way you can demonstrate that you're good at your job and that you've got a really strong track record is to talk about achievements, outcomes. And achievement is an outcome, it's not a task. Too many CVs are very task-based, so home in on outcomes. So what you can do is have a section for each role that homes in on key projects and achievements. Okay, same on the other one. Key achievements, key achievements. But what you can also do additionally is take the best of those and turn them into case studies. So you'll notice on page 1, we've got 3 career highlights. These are mini case studies, and these are written in a little formula called STAR: situation, task, actions, and result. And these explain what you did in that project or in that achievement, and how you added value, what the situation was, how you were involved, the actions you took, and the result that you drove. And the result is always using tangible, measurable, statistical evidence that you succeeded, or at least where you can. And they're incredibly powerful. If you had a whole heap of those tucked away somewhere, and you pull the 3 biggest and best into your CV each time, they really help to prove that you are a strong candidate, somebody who can deliver. But the more relevant examples you pick, the more aligned with the role you look. So pick some really strong achievements and turn them into case studies. They're not the easiest things to write, and that's where you might want to reach out for some help. But if you can pull these off, they are extremely powerful. There you go, there's 3 more there. We've tried to put as many quantifiable achievements in here as possible. And then in the career history, same kind of a thing, but you don't write them as case studies. These are more sort of 1-2-liners. But where you can, you want to be, again, giving tangible, measurable, statistical evidence, so pounds and percentages as much as possible. If we look at this one here, not so much measurable stuff in there, which is to its detriment, but here we've talked about increasing profit by 20%, garnering efficiency savings of 100k. That's the kind of thing you're looking for. So they're really, really important, and really, to me, a CV without achievements is like a car with no petrol, or even a car with no wheels, whatever analogy you want to use. That's the crux to a great CV. The level of detail you're looking for in your CV is this. You know, you can see it's not over the top. 3 pages is about right for an exec. If you're in North America, perhaps more towards 2 pages. But you need enough detail for people to learn enough about you to get excited about your application. You know, if you're just going to give really simple and short bullet points, that's not going to help. That's not going to sell you. And then recommendations at the end. We live in an age of social proofing. If you can provide social proof that you're good at your job, they work incredibly well as well. Same one on here. These are just mocked up CVs for the sake of confidentiality, but you can see what a recommendation looks like. The sort of thing you'd have on LinkedIn. LinkedIn claims that you're 3 times more likely to be contacted about an opportunity if you've got a selection of good recommendations on your LinkedIn profile. So it stands to reason that having 1 or 2 on your CV is a really strong addition as well. So those are my top tips, really. There's obviously lots of other sections that you would expect to have, but those are my top tips for turbocharging your CV. And if you're interested in us having a look at your CV and passing on some comments and feedback, then feel free to send that through. We'll put some details that will appear at the end of this video, and you can send your CV through to us and have a one-to-one feedback session with one of our team. We're also offering some discounts off our services that you can avail, and we'll put details of those at the end as well. We've written well over 17,000 CVs for kind of mid-level professionals through to senior execs. That's really where we operate. A lot, if not most, of our clients are in that kind of director and C-suite bracket. And a lot of your competition will have made that investment, and they're going to market with a very well-honed, finely tuned, laser-targeted CV. You've got to think about how that kind of compares to your homemade CV and whether you're going to have as strong a chance as they are when you're shooting for those top jobs. So if you do want some feedback, then look out for the links that will appear at the end of the video. So I hope that's useful. Thanks a lot, and speak soon.